Hello, hello, hello. Welcome on this morning of July 18th, 2023 to Southeast Iowa Union Sports Talk Live, powered by Fairway Food Store is where we all go for pretty much everything.
Yeah.
All the essentials are at Fairway.
Yeah.
And anywhere that also advertises on the show, which you'll see scrolling below, if you want to go out to the wagon wheel or get some nice food there. We are here on a special Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
What makes it so special? Well, why is today special? Oh, this is my co-host Hunter Muller's here.
Yeah, I'm here.
I didn't even announce, and I asked him a question. But Hunter, why is today so special in the baseball world?
Well, we've got our last team remaining, Van Buren Warriors, playing a 2A quarterfinal at 1:30.
That is true. It's Class 2A.
That's pretty special, right?
Quarterfinal at the beautiful Merchants Park in Carroll. I would hope that maybe not live, but on replay, we at least have a few Van Buren fans watching this show from Carroll right now.
Yeah,
Send in your pictures.
We'd love
of
that.
you watching the show at
Take
Carroll.
a picture of us and post it on Twitter.
Put your laptop on the pitcher's mound at Merchants Park in between games and send us a picture of the scoreboard so we know you're there. They play at 1:30.
Yep.
Where we we're gonna recap last week because our show on Tuesday was a preview for the sub-state finals, which we each were at. So Hunter was at probably one of the more talked about sub-state finals. By the way, we got Nikki Brackett's our producer as always here, looking nice, clean shaven a little bit and a haircut. He's really
Rocking the stash today.
yeah. The stash is gone. That's right. It was prevalent if you guys watched any of the Mount Pleasant, Fairfield, or Washington Live action last week. By the way, if you're watching this, you're watching on Mount Pleasant Live's YouTube. Mount Pleasant Live's Facebook, Fairfield Live Facebook, Washington Live Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, our Twitter at Union Sports page, or pretty much anywhere else on the web. We're everywhere. So back to business. Hunter was in Ottumwa for a little Van Buren Mid-Prairie. It was a little bittersweet no matter what because it was two of our last three baseball teams. And you saw a classic, one of the more talked about games around. Can you break down that matchup last whatever day it was, Wednesday or so?
Yeah, well, first off, it was a battle. In the district, it was a battle between 1 and 2 seeds. Obviously, Mid-Prairie, number 2 in the state in Class 2A was the number 1 seed in that district, and then Van Buren, number 2, obviously. Really exciting game back and forth. We'll kind of take you through the last inning there because that's when kind of all the drama happened. The final ended up being 6-4 in favor of Van Buren. That's why we mentioned them playing today at the state tournament. But it wasn't an easy one, and we kind of had a suspicion that it was going to be a close game.
Yeah, we did.
Both teams are very good in their own right and pretty similar. But Van Buren was down 4-3 heading into the 7th inning, top of the 7th inning there. Mid-Prairie had just previously scored 3 runs to get back on top after being down 2 there. So after a one-out walk, Taylor Sprouse got walked, and then Anthony Duncan was hit by a pitch, put runners at first and second. And then the hero, you could say, I guess, if you want to,
hero of the day
for Van Buren on the night was sophomore Isaac Loeffler. He stepped up to the plate. Second pitch of the at-bat was a wild pitch. Sprouse and Duncan advanced 1 base, and then 2 pitches later on a 2-1 count, Loeffler hit a ball between second, a hard ground ball between second and first, and scored both Sprouse and Duncan. And from then on out, he made it all the way to third. On the throw home, tried to get Duncan at home, and then it hit the bat. It went past the Golden Knot catcher and hit the backstop. So he made it all the way to third, and the place just erupted after that. And then Dominic Mariotto came up, grounded out on the next at bat, but it was enough to get Loeffler home and gave Van Buren a 6-4 lead. Which obviously that was enough as the final was 6-4 there. And then they brought in closer Jackson Manning, one of the best closers around this area, and he was able to get the job done. Mid-Prairie got a fly out, and then Carson Grout got hit by a pitch, but then Manning threw a ground out, and then a fly ball to right field ended. So huge game. Kind of people would be calling it an upset, but Van Buren kind of was one of those teams, and you could tell in the post-game interviews that they felt like they were a little appreciated, which is I mean, they did win like 14 straight and only have 3 losses. So
and they didn't get any votes.
They didn't get any votes in the ranking. So
the entire year, right? They did not get
Coach
one.
Chad
vote.
Scott was pretty fired.
Not one person clicked on Van Buren County. We don't vote in the baseball polls, just so everyone knows.
But yeah, you could tell they were all fired up for it, and obviously, they proved their worth. And obviously, Mid Prairie was number one for a while in 2A, and then number 2 most of the season. So a great season for them too. But yeah, huge win for Van Buren.
I was talking to Mr. Sadly Sile on Round Guy Radio, and he was mentioning the shortstop play between Jackson Manning and Carson Grout. And he said they got to be 2 of the better players around, right? And I was kind of racking my brain a little bit, and I thought Jackson Manning and Carson Grout might be the 2 best players, period, that we cover. They're definitely top 4 or 5. I was having a hard time really matching somebody up that does exactly what they do, because it does seem like for both teams that it's a college level shortstop. And he said there are a lot of really nice plays defensively.
And was mentioning Manning, not only closed the game, but he was huge at the plate. He hit a double in the first inning, and then a 2 RBI double in the third. So that eventually gave Van Buren a 3-1 lead before Mid Prairie's 3 runs in that 6th inning or I guess 5th. It would be the 5th inning to make it 4-3 before the kind of rally from Van Buren there. So huge game for him. Mentioning
those are 2 doubles off of Colin Miller then too, right? Because he went the first 4 for Mid Prairie there. Yep. So I mean, it was definitely best against best. Sprouse against Miller. It's kind of impressive there were even 10 runs that came across. So I assume from the Mid Prairie side disappointment. I think that we thought that they were good enough to, win, honestly, 2A, especially last year. And they kind of showed it. They really didn't have a lot of dips this year. They might have had even with their tough schedule, they had a little bit when they jumped from 1 to 2, but they were pretty much as hot as can be coming into this game too.
Yeah. And it was, real exciting. It was, there was a lot of heart shown by them too. Obviously, they got down 3-1, and it really kind of took them a while because, Taylor Sprouse was pretty dialed in on the mound. And into that 5th inning, I didn't mention it, but I'll mention it now. Brady Weber scored an RBI single, or notched an RBI single, scoring Cameron Pickard, and then Dylan Henry hit an RBI double, scoring Alex Bean. And then on the throw to third, the ball went out of play, and then Weber got a free trip home, and Henry all the way to third there. So that was their kind of rally early, and then, or I guess in that 5th inning, and then from then on out, as I already mentioned, Van Buren come up huge 2 innings later there when it mattered most. So yeah. So great. I guess the game attests to both of the teams hard. It's just that it was Van Buren County's night. Yeah,
and I bet the crowd in Tummel was probably going absolutely. You don't often see Van Buren was the underdog on that. You don't often see the favorite come back, take the lead, and then the underdog fight right back. Usually, when I saw your tweet, because I was at the Hillcrest game. When I saw your tweet that Mid Prairie had taken the lead, I kind of in my brain a little bit almost kind of put it away a little bit, like, they're back and they're not going to give this one up. As I just mentioned, I was at the Hillcrest Academy game. They played Burlington Notre Dame, which was for a chance to play yesterday in the Class 1A tournament. And it was kind of so it was 4-3 Notre Dame final. I think we complained about the fact that the neutral site that hosted this game between a team in Burlington and a team in Kelowna was Community Field in Burlington, which is a nice short walk for most of the Notre Dame faithful. And how long is it from Kelowna to Burlington? Quite a long ways.
It's got to be over. It's got to be in like an hour and 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's an
hour and 15 minutes.
Hour and 15 maybe. It's a long drive.
It takes us about 45, 50 minutes to get there.
Yeah. But Hillcrest fans showed out, and they had Seth Hours on the mound. I thought Seth Hours pitched really well, but it just you could kind of tell early things weren't bouncing right for Hillcrest Academy. Mm-hmm. Notre Dame loaded the bases in the first inning without a hit into the outfield. It was, I believe, a walk, an error, and a bunt single that was kind of a bunt in a weird area where I don't even remember which Hillcrest player scooped it up and kind of struggled to figure out which out to get. Didn't get any, and then so Hours wiggles out of that. Actually, it wasn't even Hours. It was a line drive to Luke Schrock. That's turned into a double play. And then Liam Schrock threw a guy out of second. So the defense got out of that 0-0. Next inning, exact same thing happens. for Notre Dame. Not one ball into the outfield, bases loaded, nobody out. And this time they finally get one, but it was they had a squeeze play as a no out squeeze play, which was shocking that they tried that. It was perfectly executed to score the first run. And then it was a 2-base throwing error. So again, Ours was kind of doing what he needed to do to get out of it. Offensively, Hillcrest had a couple threats against Hunter Shipley, who started for the Nikes. Couldn't get anything going. So Ours kind of cruised into the fifth. Notre Dame did get a couple of big hits in the fifth. Shook up Ours just a little bit to get 1 run. So that's 4-0. Get to the top of the sixth. It kind of went fast. Those high school baseball games that are low scoring, they kind of zip by. So it's 4-0 going into the sixth. All of a sudden in the sixth, the Hillcrest bats wake up. They load the bases with nobody out. So that's 3 times that the bases have been loaded with nobody outs. This time, the Ravens connect with 3 runs. Mason Bender brought one home on a 1-out hit by pitch, and then Liam Schrock had a 2-run. It was ruled an error, like on Varsity Bound. Even Hillcrest has it as an error. It was a hot shot off the first baseman. I probably would have ruled it a 2-run single. It was just kind of a real sharp ground ball that kind of bounced off the first baseman and trickled into the outfield, though, which scored 2. So that's 4-3. But Notre Dame gets out of that. Ours still going in the bottom of the sixth. Gets out of it, so they're down 1 in the seventh. First guy gets on, Luke Schrock singles, and then Jace Rimple hit a pretty hard ball at the third baseman, and Notre Dame went around the horn, third to second to first for a double play, which was just a dagger, because you could really feel the momentum had carried over from the sixth inning into the seventh. So it really felt like, Hillcrest is going to score here. They've got all the stuff working, and that double play just totally squashed any momentum. And then what happens? The next batter is a line out to second. So 3 hard hit balls turn into nothing for Hillcrest, and a tough 4-3 loss and elimination for the Ravens.
Yeah, and kudos to them, because they've been down, and I felt like that this matchup was what Hillcrest would kind of want, because familiar opponent. And they played him close the first time around. So, obviously they gave it all they got. And then really, all season long, Hillcrest is kind of known for not backing down. And I think we saw that again. We've kind of seen it all postseason. Obviously, I think they were down to Keota too. Rallied back in that. Or
won an extra innings.
Scoreless game in the end. And it felt like Hillcrest was kind of the team that if they were there in the end, they would pull out the win. And it just didn't go their way this time, but great season for them too. And obviously they lose quite a bit of senior.
Yeah, they do,
which stinks for them. But
that's similar to so Mid Prairie loses 4 out of their starting lineup, I believe. So 4 out of their starting 9, and Hillcrest loses. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4 out of their starting 9. So that's basically half the team gone for both of them. And then obviously Luke Schrock is a big arm for Hillcrest. And same with Colin Miller for Mid Prairie. So a lot of seniors lost from those 2 teams. We'll see if they rebuild next year. So 1A was gone. Notre Dame, by the way, is already out. They lost yesterday. So yesterday was the 1A tournament. Today's the first round of the 2A tournament, and today is today. I was going to say here in a bit, we're going to chat about that. I was trying to transition it. I was trying to do one of those patented Southeast Iowa Union Sports Talk transitions where we talk about the commercials, and it just wasn't hitting right there.
Yeah, that's all right.
So that was, rare miss on Southeast Iowa Union Sports Talk.
You're good.
But we're going to throw it to commercial, and we're going to come back. When we come back, we're going to get deeper into Van Buren's game here, which starts in a few hours over at Merchants Park. So stick with us.
Federation Bank is a locally owned bank providing award-winning customer service. We believe that we are more than just a federation of banks, but a federation of communities, serving Brighton, Richland, Wellman, and Washington, Iowa. Federation Bank's highly skilled staff is here to make sure you are able to accomplish your personal and professional goals, whatever they may be. Federation Bank, your family bank.
Hospice isn't a place, it's a type of care that focuses on living. Servicing a 7-county area, the Hospice of Washington County staff of nurses, social work, hospice aides, spiritual and grief support, volunteers, music and massage therapists are able to provide free end-of-life care where the patient lives. We write wills, give consent for organ donation, but rarely is there a plan for what we would want the final phase of our lives. At Hospice of Washington County, we encourage our patients to be in charge of their healthcare decisions while maintaining quality of life.
Unbelievable amount of devastation. I've never seen anything like it.
We had a beautiful barn that was gone in 20 minutes.
Farm Bureau stepped up right away and said, hey, we got you and we'll be there for you.
We were taken care of. Now we could get on to repairing and rebuilding.
I tell everybody about Farm Bureau.
We're fortunate to say we have good coverage with good people doing it.
Contact Farm Bureau agents Tony Starr and Mike Welcher in Mount Pleasant today.
Tammy takes the time and has the personal interest in each one of us. I don't worry about what's going to happen because I know my policy is taken care of.
She pulls what I need and puts it together, which is the program I get from her.
Every year she calls around September or so and says, there's changes again, and I'm going to do the best thing for you. It's been perfect. She does a great job.
At the Capper Auto Group, we put our customers' needs first and understand that everyone is as different as the vehicle they select. We offer new Ford, Chevrolet, Buick, GMC, Jeep, Chrysler, Dodge, and Ram vehicles in a friendly environment that puts you in the driver's seat. When it comes to service, we maintain factory-trained technicians and competitive pricing. The Capper Auto Group still believes that service after the sale provides the best customer experience. Come see the Capper experience for yourself.
When you aspire to be a dancer, you are both an artist and an athlete. Your strength combines with beauty and grace seamlessly. Your efforts result in enhanced coordination, the ability to cooperate and compromise with others, and the confidence to perform in front of an audience. Not to mention the fun you will have and the lifelong friendships you will develop. We are enrolling now for fall classes, and we would love to see you shine like the star that you are. Join us for Dance and Tumbling at Stairway to the Stars. Please visit our website for online registration.
Welcome back to Southeast Iowa Union Sports Talk Live, coming at you live from Southeast Iowa, unless you're watching this on replay, which many of you are, because I don't think that we did a great job of advertising today, that it would be a little earlier. I was going to do that when I woke up, and I got distracted by children, so apologies for that. So, some people may be checking in. They're the pre-gamers that get here about 12:30 to the YouTube. They're ready for some Southeast Iowa Union Sports Talk. They can't even handle it. 30 minutes till the show, and then they realize, wait a minute, the show actually ran 3.5 hours ago. We can just watch it all right now. I am still Andy Krutzinger, Hunter Muller, and Nick Steffen's still here. We are still powered by Fairway Food Stores, as always, and we are going to talk a little bit about the Van Buren County matchup, which, again, 1:30 today, Carroll, at Merchants Park. If you are watching this live, 10 a.m., pretty much wherever you're watching, as long as you're not watching from our eastern portion, you take your laptop or put us on Spotify, get in your car right now and drive to Carroll, and you could be there for first pitch. No bathroom breaks, obviously, so get that out of the way, and no snacks. But you could be there. Well, who knows? Because the way the games went yesterday, a lot of those games started late.
Right, exactly.
And I actually think that the game Van Buren County and West Lyon play in the 4-5 game. Van Buren got the 5. And the winner of that will play in the second round, will play number 1 Beckman Catholic or Pella Christian, who knocked out the top-ranked team. I think that one's going to be a dogfight. That starts at 11 a.m., so I wouldn't be surprised if Van Buren County's game gets started a little late. So Hunter has been tooth and nail, skipping sleep 24/7, scouting the West Lyon Bears, who Van Buren County will play. By the way, the 2 best records in the entirety of the 1A bracket: a 2-loss team in West Lyon, a 3-loss team in Van Buren County. What do you know about today's matchup?
Yeah, well, entering obviously Van Buren defeated Winfield 12-0, Mediapolis 10-0, and then the 6-4 win over Mid Prairie. West Lyon pretty dominant run through the district round. Defeated West Sioux 8-0. Then Unity Christian 12-2, and then a little 2-0 win over Forest City to get to state. Pretty. I guess you could say they're pretty similar teams. It seems like West Lyon's got a pretty stout defense. The runs scored 9.3 a game for West Lyon compared to Van Buren's 10.4. Runs against, West Lyon's only allowing 2 runs a game, about 2.1 runs a game. So mentioned pretty dominant defense. Van Buren, on the contrary, 3.4. I guess not on the contrary. It's pretty
still pretty good.
Runs, hits, Van Buren's pretty much on top of all, leading West Lyon, and that obviously Van Buren played a couple more games there. Looking at the records, really what kind of stands out is really West Lyon on the mentioned the defensive end. Obviously, ERA of 1.75 as a team, and they've allowed 105 hits. Really, that's kind of, I think, is going to be the biggest difference is going to be on the pitcher's mound, which is obviously why pitching's pretty important. I'd say leading them, the Wildcats, is Corey McKinney, senior. He's got 6 wins, 42 and 1/3 innings pitched. He's got a 1.32 ERA. So I'm assuming that's going to be their go-to unless
their
they
guy.
I guess unless they have other plans. In that regard, also on the mound for them, Spencer Vermeer, 4-0 record with an ERA of .89. He's given up 10 runs, 4 earned on 14 hits and 32 strikeouts. So hasn't played as much, but still pretty wild ERA there. And I know we kind of pointed that out last year about New London's final last year about some crazy ERAs, and New London did well against the guys that had sub 1 ERAs. So really anything can happen in that regard. It's about who you play. I'm leading the Wildcats in the box is Spencer Vermeer. He's got a .412 batting average. He's 21 hits, 22 RBIs. Senior Ryan Crichton has a .368 ERA, team high 35 runs, 28 hits. He also has 24 RBIs. And then they also have a three other batters hitting over 300. Or actually, Gage Blount and Tate Hoff, both sophomores, are both batting .362 there, and then they have 4 other guys batting over 300.
Yeah, they've got a lot of guys that seem. There's a few guys that don't seem to start every game.
Yeah,
they bat pretty high, so you never know with those what games they play.
Like there was a kid that didn't start, but he still played in all 27 games.
Yeah.
So, a little kind of deceiving in that regard. For Van Buren, obviously, you mentioned Jackson Manning batting .517, has a team high. Pretty much, he's team high in a lot of categories. Team high 50 runs,
state high in a couple of those.
45 hits, and team leading 60 runs batted in. I believe that's the one that's up there in the state.
That's top 2, I believe, coming in at least.
Junior Lucas Fett, 383 average, 45 runs, 36 hits, 20 RBIs. Taylor Sprouse, also a senior, 366 average, 20 runs, 37 hits, 38 RBIs. And then 4 other Warriors bat above 300 as well. Tyler Stoltz, Anthony Duncan, TJ Durock, and Isaac Loeffler all above that mark as well. And on the mound, Van Buren has a couple guys they can go to. Obviously, the more prominent one that I guess sticks out, 6-1 record, is Taylor Sprouse. He's holding opponents to an average of 146 at the plate. He's given up just 20 runs, 14 earned on 29 hits, and 57 strikeouts. Dylan Richardson, which I have never seen him pitch, but he's got a 7-0 record. He's got an ERA of 1.95, best on the team over 4 starts, allowing 11 runs, 9 earned on 24 hits, 33 strikeouts, and he's holding opponents to a 1.73 average. And then we mentioned Manning, the closer, 2-0 record, ERA of 1.40. He's getting up 4 runs, 4 earned on 8 hits, and 26 strikeouts. And then Fett also holds a 4-run record for the Warriors as well. He's kind of that other guy that gets starts on the mound. So got to be feeling pretty good about if you're Van Buren looking at that at the stats in those regards. And then obviously mentioned West Lyon earlier, so seem to be pretty good. I think it's going to be a pretty good game either way.
Yeah, I would.
I forgot to mention. I don't know if I did mention it, but West Lyon is the 4th seed, and then Van Buren is the 5th seed. So
yeah,
4 and 5 seeds going at it.
It is the game that is supposed to be the closest. I will say that Van Buren should be pretty happy with their Van Buren County. I was trying to say Van Buren County because as a husband of a former Harmony High School school teacher, I know there's some Harmony kids. Lucas Fett is a old Harmony kid. By the way, I saw him get 4 of those RBIs in one swing of the bat against Mediapolis the other day. I would feel confident in their arms. I would assume that Taylor Sprouse is going today because the 4-5. You probably don't save your. Not only do you not save your guy for the semifinals, even if you play the 1 seed, but also if Sprouse pitches well today, they win. Then they beat whoever they're playing in the semifinals. You could save his innings and he could come back in the championship games. I believe New London did something similar last year when they won in 1A.
New London, I think, pitched it was their ace all season. Dominic?
Oh yes. It's been so long. It's been a whole year.
But they pitched him, and then they threw Josh Catala second round.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And then he was able to come back for the state championship. So
Yep. Yeah. So they only had 2 starters that they needed to use, and so I would assume that Van Buren County is going straight up. The plan today would almost have to be,
and they had Seth Bailey too. So
that's true. They had relievers.
They could really go there too.
I assume Van Buren County is going to want to go Sprouse and Manning today, and that would be the ideal. If everything works out perfectly, I'd say you see Sprouse keep his pitches down, go far into if everything works perfectly, they hammer out like 20 runs in the first inning, and then they can throw whoever. They put the names in the hat and do it that way at that point to save pitches. But I would assume that Sprouse and Manning the ideal is that they're the only kids that are going to throw pitches today if I was head coach, because those are 2 dominant pitchers and you're at the biggest stage.
That's the hardest part, I would say, about the state tournament is like you have such a short span that you really have to. That in itself is such an important thing for having pitching, because if you have like a stud ace that you rely on so heavily, and then it's like you use all him up, and then you just don't have anything else, then it's like that's what's tough. But Van Buren has some guys that they can fill in there. Obviously, we mentioned Richardson. Neither of us has seen him.
Richardson and Fett. I saw Fett pitch. Richardson has not pitched in any of the games I've seen him. But I would say that the plan would then be that those guys would be the next step for the semifinals. And if you're Van Buren County, if you're any team, you kind of hope that the other side of that bracket. So you hope that this game going at 11 a.m. The ideals is that it's like 6-6 in extra innings and 13, 14 innings where both teams just absolutely kill every arm that they have. That way, if you do win today, you show up against a team that's having to throw their real bottom of the barrel guys.
Yeah, and especially talking about that they could be playing Beckman Catholic, who's really good, or Pella Christian, who upset the number 1 team in the state, and they had that kid go through a no-hitter through 7 innings.
I would say no doubt Pella Christian's ace is probably right now loosening his arm up to go every single inning today. So I would assume that if you're a Van Buren County fan, I wouldn't worry about facing that kid from Pella Christian that shut down Van Meter, because you got to be crazy not to pitch that guy if you're going against the 1 seed. So it kind of gets fun. And so the semifinal rounds are always really interesting because you have who's got arms left and stuff like that. And I'm pretty confident in Van Buren's. Van Buren's offense just went against Colin Miller.
Yeah.
So it's not like they are seeing stuff that they haven't seen before. They've seen some of one of the best in the entire state just a few days ago. So I'm excited. That's 1:30. Oh, by the way, for anyone who's sitting at home right now, you're going to watch the game at 1:30. If you want to watch it, obviously you got newspaper coverage. We'll have we got some ace photographers there that will have some cool pictures, and we'll have a story on that pretty quickly after the game. And radio coverage and all that stuff. If you're actually going to watch it, Iowa High School Sports Network has it. You have to pay money this year. It used to be free live, and then you paid later. So you have to pay. If you just want the game today, $10. If you you have to go on their website to check it out. You can buy the entire tournament, all classes, for $20, which is what we did because we have confidence that Van Buren will win. We'll possibly be there live later in the year, but it's probably later in the week. And then you get that for 30 days, so you can watch it for 30 days. You have to repay money even if you already paid before. People are going to be mad at that. Parents are going to be upset at that. If you're on the Twitter sphere, well, it doesn't help the Sportsnet that the softball tournament's going on right now for free on YouTube. So there we go. So just you got to go to Iowa High School Sports Network. Figure that out now if you haven't, because you don't want to be messing with that in the first couple innings and all that stuff. So we are going to go to commercial, and then we've got a special. Got some personal news coming up. Not to tease you guys too much, but some big personal news for 2 of the 3 of us. So guess who it's going to be. We'll be back after this commercial break.
Family owned and operated by Andy and Sarah Ross, Ross Auto has been your vehicle repair and maintenance headquarters since 1935. We specialize in all makes of cars and light-duty trucks. With our variety of available services, let us help you keep rolling and your vehicle operating efficiently. Services include general auto repair, alignments, brakes, fuel injection, and more. Schedule your appointment today at 319-653-5656. That's 319-653-5656.
At 5 Star Community Credit Union, we want to help you lead a better life. We offer competitive rates and convenient appointment times for all kinds of loans: auto, recreational vehicles, home equity, line of credit, holiday, and personal loans. We make it easy to build your credit and enjoy the good things in life.
We invite you to join 5 Star Community Credit Union. We are community-minded and member-focused. Come visit our locations in West Burlington and Mount Pleasant or online at 5starcu.org. Federally insured through the NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
At Brown Shoe Fit, we pride ourselves on traditional sit and fit service that's been serving the Mount Pleasant area since 1952. At Brown's, we have shoes for the whole family. From kids to adults, we carry the finest footwear for every occasion. Whether you're looking for something for work, casual wear, or exercise, we've got you covered. And don't forget about our selection of safety toe footwear for both men and women. Come visit us 6 days a week and experience the best in traditional sit and fit service. Brown Shoe Fit, where quality and tradition meet.
Bring the kids and share the memories from steam engines, antique cars and trucks, tractors, gas engines, and horses. Maybe your memories are of great food from the North Village to the Log Village, or learning how to square dance over at the Dance Barn. This is the place where memories are made. Make plans now to enjoy the history of the past at the 2023 Midwest Old Threshers Reunion, August 31st through September 4th in Mount Pleasant. Visit oldthreshers.com for more details.
Hello. Welcome back to Southeast Iowa Union Sports Talk Live. I made a mistake during the commercial because I should have instructed our faithful producer, Nikki Brackets, Nick Steffens, who you've all come to know and love if you didn't already, to get on camera, because this will sadly be his last time. Thumbs up if this is your last time confirmed. Southeast Iowa Union Sports Talk. We're a 3-man team here, so that's 33% of our heart being broken. But he's going to the Twin Cities, right? Minneapolis. Great. Honestly, Twin Cities are some of the coolest cities. He's basically right with us because he's still on the historic Avenue of the Saints, Highway 218. So everybody from St. Paul to St. Louis is a big family.
Right.
But so that's sad. If production, we have backup plans for that, but obviously this show wouldn't exist without Mr. Nicholas. He won our bracket challenge, as everyone remembers. We had some good times.
There'll be a new winner next time.
And I think that we should invite him back. I think he definitely has to enter next year. We'll get him on. Maybe we'll do little check-ins, maybe we'll call him on, we'll just do little pop-ins wherever he's working, and we'll video call him, and then we'll set it up. We got to get a big TV back here.
Yeah.
Every once in a while next year. Check on how he's doing.
We need 2 TVs.
See if they're sick in Minneapolis. Yet. So, but yeah, fun. Thumbs up. I should have put you on camera, but I'm excited for the move. Big city.
There you go.
You used to live in Cedar Falls, which it's not as big as Minneapolis.
Not as big, but
Minnesota's great. It's also crazy. You get to Minneapolis and you're like, there's still 8 hours of Minnesota still waiting for me north if I just keep going.
Yeah, we'll get Canada eventually.
What was the candidate?
I said we'll get to Canada eventually.
Yeah, you get to Canada eventually. That's right. I was up there. There's some greats that live in Minneapolis, like T.J. Hawkinson, obviously, tight end for the Vikings here in high school, like me. Who else was in Minneapolis?
And Nicky, you be a Vikings fan now?
Yeah, you kind of have to.
Yeah.
Honestly, not to rip on Minneapolis after I just complimented it so much, but they do have cheapish ticket prices. Like if you want to watch the Timberwolves. That's not that much money.
I've been to a Timberwolves game.
One of my best friends is a big Minnesotan. You've been to a Timberwolves game? Yeah. That's fun. Was that Ricky Rubio era?
Yeah, it was.
Nice. That would have been super fun.
It was awesome. He almost had Trip Dub.
Really? He's great. I love Ricky Rubio. So, yeah, lots of opportunities to watch some Minneapolis sports. Who else? Jesse Ventura. Is he still the governor? Nope. No, he's definitely not. But he was at one point. Come back. And who else? Prince. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
So. Those are all the Minneapolis people I can name. Now we got Nikki Brackett's over there, so jumped into the top 3.
Top 3.
So yeah, I don't know. We're not good at sentimental stuff. We'll miss Nick.
Yep.
It's very sad.
Yep.
And then on a brighter note, Hunter, this is your last show as a non-married. As long as she says yes,
goes all right.
Yeah, and nothing happens.
I think it'll be all right.
Yeah, if anybody, I'll be there. If anything happens, I'll step up and
Andy will be
whatever happens. If the the priest gets sick, I'll step in and call the wedding. Not call the wedding. It's not like sports. Whatever it's called.
Be like Dave Johnson, the old
round guy. Yep.
Maybe Dave with the old phone up there.
Yeah, I'll bring my phone up, call the wedding. What is it? Officiate the wedding.
There you
Sorry.
go.
And ring bearer trips. I got him. I'll scoop up the fumble. Flower girl.
That's your job right now.
Just the backup to everybody.
You just keep an eye out. You see anything that going south, you just.
Yeah, there we go. I'll be the utility guy, the guy that you sub in for anybody, and then my kids will also. We'll have the whole thing be there, but it might turn into 2 of us if one of the kids can't make it through the wedding. So I'm not gonna say what time it is and what day it is, because then we'll have all the. I don't want to invite all of our viewers. I do want to, but I can't.
Yeah.
If this was 2013 and I was getting married, I'd probably just say everyone's invited.
And random people show up, and you're like.
Hey, you guys are viewers of Sound
from Sports Talk.
Yeah, from Sports Talk. Come on in. Yeah, we were pretty packed. So, it's fun times. Marriage. You going to cry?
I don't know. Probably.
I was telling you before the show that one of my, I turned around and one of my groomsmen was crying immediately. And that really threw off the entire vibe because I didn't expect that.
You were feeling emotional, and then you saw that, and you're like.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, boy. Actually, I remember that I kind of was getting a little emotional for mine. And then him crying, it was almost like, oh, look at that. And then I stopped. Like, my emotions went back to
normal.
Went back to my normal, like you see me here.
Right.
So, good and bad news, good news. Show-wise, we'll be here back next week, likely. To talk about Van Buren's run. Don't know which day, probably Tuesday, but we'll update you on that Twitter like I always promise we never do. And then we're not going to just have no show because it's the summer.
Yeah.
We have a couple of plans for summer shows. And the summer doesn't even last that long.
No.
People are like, oh, there's a big break between baseball and football. What are you guys going to talk about? But it's like football is like almost here. I can taste it.
Yeah.
It's July 18th, week 0 for 8-man football is like August 21st or something.
Right.
So we'll have our in the Southeast Iowa Union. We'll have our all union teams, our all-star teams. So it's going to be really tough to pick. We're going to pick that this week.
Season. We should do a fantasy team.
Oh, like a fantasy league?
Yeah, fantasy league. We'll get Nick in on it.
I like that. I like that. Yeah. We'll do a fantasy football league. Now I'm pumped. Now I'm even more pumped.
Now you're ready.
Yeah, my wife rolled her eyes at Walmart the other day. I was already rolling my eyes because we were at Walmart, but I said, I just kind of like sighed. And she's like, what? I was like, I just miss football season. She's like, what? I was like, I don't know. We're doing back to school, a little light back to school shopping. And that makes me think of football. So
think about it. Every day you're pulling up your roster. You're like, I gotta make some moves, trades.
Yeah.
You feel like you're in the head. You're in the front office.
You do that. Honestly, if you're playing if you're soaked into football season as much as you should be, and we gotta leave in like 2 minutes because Nick's got to get home, then that really takes up your whole fall, and it makes everything just seem a little bit. Every day is a little bit more bright.
Yep.
A little bit brighter. But I was gonna say football. How early do you think? I'm sure there are some people that check the newspaper right now. And they're like, we got some football stuff in yet? Like, still baseball, softball stuff. So those people, your time is coming because we'll do all the football previews here pretty soon.
Right.
So that's going to be very exciting. We got about 2 weeks to
It'll
get our
come
fall
up quick.
sports thing done. Yeah, it comes up really quick when you're the people responsible for putting it together. So I'm already stressed about football season, high school wise. So yeah. And anybody else got anything to add? No? Nick, thumbs up if you're going to miss the fans. Big thumbs up from Nick. So for Nick, Hunter Moeller, Andy Krutzinger, Fairway Food Stores, and all our sponsors. We'll see you